Hey everyone, how are you doing today? I hope you're having an absolutely wonderful day. I am so excited because today I'm going to be doing a tag video, and I haven't done a tag video and I can't even tell you how long. It has been such a long time since I've done a tag, and this tag was set up by Samantha March and Allie Glines. This is round 2 of their palette tag video. I remember years ago when they did their first one, that I really wanted to do it, but I didn't feel like I had enough palettes. Now I have enough palettes to do this tag video. So before I get started, I have to tell you about my tea of the day because it's one that I was like waiting anxiously for it to come in the mail. This is called Daughter's Ring, I think. I'll put up a picture of what it looks like, but this is from Tea Viver and it's a jasmine tea and it is so cool. It's rolled into spirals and it's incredibly fragrant. Like when you open the bag, it's like intoxicatingly jasmine scented. It's so glorious, and it's really fun to watch steep as the little curls unfurl. It's just a really fun one. And of course, I'm a fan because I love jasmine. Okay, let's get started on this tag video. So the very first question was, what is your all-time favorite palette? Now, before I tell you, I do have to get this in there that I've only been wearing eyeshadow for a few years. So I'm not like some of these people who have been wearing eyeshadow for 10, 15, 20 years, and therefore their all-time favorite is oftentimes pretty epic, I feel. For me, my all-time favorite is just my favorite in the past few years. But okay, so I do have a favorite. However, that would be this one from Colourpop. This is the Going Coconuts palette. I have not gotten tired of it. I love this palette. It is extremely easy to wear for every day, and you can easily go smoky. These shades don't lack pigment, and yet at the same time, they're very blendy, very easy to use. These shimmers are absolutely gorgeous. This one here in the middle, Cocoa Crush, you've heard me talk about it often. quite often. It is just a glorious lid shade. It's an amazing one and done. I mean, look at it. It hasn't been pushed out of my heart as a favorite, so I have to say that would be my all-time favorite. Next up, the question is new favorite. Now, I haven't been buying palettes since January 1st. So when I say new favorite, this is just relatively new. I bought a bunch of palettes at the end of last year, and definitely the very first one that came to mind was the Lorac Unzipped palette. This is my first time trying the Lorac formula, and I know that they've changed it up a little bit over the past newer palettes. They have some more topper shades and things in their palettes, which I also like. I just haven't had a chance to try them yet. But as for this formula, I think it's absolute perfection, and this color story, I made sure to try every single one of these shades, and every single look I did, I was so happy. I was just so happy. These are the most perfect rosy tones that don't lean too red, which always makes me look sick. Every time I've tried to experiment with tones that lean a little bit more, I don't know, violet or red, it's just a bad idea. These are in that perfect rosy tone that it's not just doesn't make me look sick, but they're actually really flattering. And as smooth and as beautiful as the shimmers are, you know, I have to mention the mattes as well, but I mean, look at them shimmers. They are very pretty. They're very, like I just said, smooth on the eye. Just something that I have really come to appreciate about certain eyeshadow formulas. I love a smooth eyeshadow. But the mattes, very user-friendly. They're not going to be so overpigmented that you have to be stressed out while using them. But at the same time, you can easily build them up to a very dramatic look if you want. I mean, I haven't been able to reach for it for a little bit because I have had other things in projects, but I can tell you sincerely that this palette has been on my mind. I've been wanting to reuse it again. So yes, I would say definitely this is my new favorite. Something that you keep for the memories. So a very nostalgic palette. Well, I had to pick this one. The whole reason I bought it was because of memories and nostalgia. I mean, this is from iHeart Revolution. This is obviously the Cocoa Pebbles palette. I couldn't get how it looked just like a box of cereal. It had the whole Cocoa Pebbles thing around the edge, and it just looked like a little box of cereal, and I loved it so much. The color story, again, I have actually tried every single shade in this palette, and while the iHeart Revolution formula isn't my very favorite formula, I don't dislike it. I have no problem using it, and I like the color story. I always have fun when I use this one, and it has a nice mirror in it. Check it out. And yeah, I keep this around just definitely for the memories of just childhood nostalgia. Something that I think is underrated, I had to pull out the Persona palette. So this is the Identity 1. It's been out for quite a while, and I have seen a few people talk about it, specifically Mandy Lee really likes it, Kelly Gooch really likes this palette, but otherwise I think it's kind of flown under the radar, and I had kind of a hard time deciding if I wanted to put this as my new favorite or the Lorac Unzipped as my new favorite, just because, I mean, I had to go with the Lorac Unzipped because of the color story, but this one, it's a glorious, glorious neutral palette. And it's funny because when I first saw it, and when I heard people say a glorious neutral palette, my eye immediately went down here. I'm like, there's like purple and there's like a bright rust color in this palette. But after using it, I can confirm it is a wonderful neutral palette. It does the same type of thing where the shimmers are very, very smooth. They're not going to emphasize texture. They're just that excellent, excellent, smooth, high quality formula. You can tell when you touch it that it's just nice, nice formula. And the same thing with the mattes. Very blendy, and they do have lots of pigment, but they don't go into the scary category, kind of like Anastasia palettes can, where they're just too pigmented sometimes. This doesn't go there. This has the right level of pigment. They blend beautifully. Beautifully. Let's swatch some of these shades. So we have to get the shade Seductive over here, which is a beautiful taupe, and let's get the shade called Bombshell, which is kind of like a greeny color. There's the oh, look at it, and the green. Oh. I mean, come on. Highly recommend. So the next question is a palette that is not a favorite, but you can't bring yourself to get rid of it. For me, immediately, I thought of the Subculture palette. I have considered decluttering this so many times, and I just can't make myself do it. I mean, you guys probably are very aware of what the Subculture palette looks like. This palette is in the realm of so pigmented that I have a hard time using it. We're talking the barest dip in these shades, and that's not just the deep ones, that's also like even this bright mustard, not bright mustard, this like grungy mustard over here. I really like this color, but even this shade I have a hard time working with just because it's so pigmented. I don't find that it blends well, and yet I cannot get rid of this palette. I don't have anything else like it. I think I tell myself that if I ever want like a super pigmented, colorful eyeliner, this is like a great palette to keep around for that. And I do like the shimmers in this palette. So I don't know, at the moment, it's sticking around in my collection. Someday I'll be able to let myself let go of it, but that day has not come. Next question, favorite collab? I immediately had to go with the Anastasia Beverly Hills Master Palette by Mario. This is my favorite Anastasia palette because while everything is pigmented, but it just never goes to that realm of scary territory. Everything still blends. This, I think, was their best formula. I've tried several of their palettes now, not all of them, but several of them, and this has the best formula out of all of them for their mattes. I also love the shimmer formula in here. Again, it's that very smooth formula that I love so much. And their color story. Ooh, the color story. I have thought about trying to dupe this out in my collection, and just looking at it, I know I can't. I actually don't have several of these shades in other palettes or in my singles collection. It was such a well done palette, and I think we all know that if Anastasia decided to re-release this or if someone decided to like release another palette that duped the color story, it would be very popular. The next question is 2021 favorite, which I mean, I had to go straight back to my Lorac Unzipped palette again. It was my favorite palette of 2021, no question. Next question is something that you did not expect to love. So I had to go with this palette from Kaleidos. Now, I have talked about Kaleidos quite a bit on my channel as having really, really fun color stories and a very good formula, but I didn't expect to love this one. So actually this one was gifted to me, which I was so excited because this is definitely not something that I would have purchased for myself. And check out the color story. I mean, it just doesn't look like my color story, right? However, I went for it, and I have to tell you, every single time I use it, I love it. It gives the whole mermaid princess vibes. This shadow here is such a pretty turquoise shimmer. Like, it is just the most beautiful topper, and when you use it in combination with the matte shades, oh, it's so pretty. And you know, you normally wouldn't think orange goes with turquoise, but it really, really gives such a fun eyeshadow look. Let's also swatch the silver. This silver is also more of a topper shade. which I know some people really don't like toppers, but I feel like they can really, again, give that whole mermaid look that regular metallics can't, you know? Oh, they're so, so beautiful. I'll get a little closer so you can see that better. Oh, yeah. Let me quick show you the mattes as well, because they are so smooth. Oh, just really, really beautiful. And since I'm such a neutral palette girl, I mean, look at that brown. Holy cannoli smoly. What was I just saying just now? I don't know. Holy cannoli smoly. That was a terrible swatch of the orange there. That's adding it better there. But you can see, oh, the pigment is amazing. Look at that brown. Oh, it was I've used that shade as an eyeliner. That's why there is a pan in this one, because it was a gorgeous brown eyeliner. But yeah, I can say with confidence, I was not expecting to love this palette as much as I do, and it's gorgeous. Thank you so much to my friend who gifted this to me. Okay, next question is palette that sparks joy, and for that I had to bring out another Kaleidos palette. This is the Flower Punk palette, and this is not something I reach for often. I keep it in its packaging because it's just so pretty. I couldn't get rid of it. I think it's the only palette I have that I do that with. So again, it's not a palette that I reach for often, but it is just so unique, and just like, I just look at it and grin. Like, it's just so fun. This shade over here, Sun Gazer, this is one of their true metallic formulas. Let me give you a swatch of that, because holy smokes, so far I've only shown you like their topper formula, but this is their metallic formula. Holy smokes, folks. I mean, it is high impact, really, really amazing. Just yikes, wow. So that is a true metallic. These two over here are more toppers. Again, beautiful. I love them. I actually really enjoy the pinky mauve look I get using these three shades together. So, you know, I can do a more, it's not quite neutral. It's still too pink and mauve, I feel, to be true neutral, but I can do what I would consider an easy to accomplish look using these three shades over here. And there's something about these grungy greens and like these mustards and this like chartreuse color, it just makes me so happy just to look at it. I love it. And when I'm in the mood to wear these colors, and I have them. And you know, I can't overlook these either. This Mint Fever shade, I'm thinking in the camera it looks a little more turquoise, but it's actually, again, more of a mint shade. I do not own that shade at all, just like anywhere in my collection. Like, it's just so different for anything that I have. So yeah, I would say this palette most definitely sparks joy. Okay, next question is newest palette to my collection. Like I said, for the past few months, I haven't really been buying palettes. However, I did just get gifted a little palette. So this is from I Heart Revolution. This is the Pistachio Cream palette. So this is definitely like an olivey, greeny type color story. Okay, so there's the color story. Isn't that different? I don't think I have anything else like that, especially like I don't have like a yellow shimmer like that at all. And just this whole color story in general is just something I don't have. I think it's so interesting. So thank you so much to my friend for gifting this to me. Again, I still haven't tried it. I have it out on my desk. And I think I mentioned in my last Shop My Stash video that I had now used all the palettes in my collection. I forgot about this one. Like I just keep. So anyway, this is going into that Shop My Stash, I think, because I need to try it, but I think it is such a pretty color story. Like I love that kind of like, I don't know, baby poopy brown color. I don't know, we'll see how it goes on my eyes, but I think it's actually a quite pretty color. Okay, the very last question is the first palette that I used in 2022. Normally, actually, I wouldn't know. I'd be like, oh, that was like 3 months ago. But I actually, this year, just started like keeping track of which palettes I use and how many times I use them. So I can tell you that the very first palette I used this year was the Tarte Tartlet in Bloom palette. I just picked up a couple Tarte palettes at the end of last year for the very first time ever. So Tarte is a new brand to my collection, and I have been enjoying it immensely. I can see why it's a like perennial favorite. People use their palettes up and then buy a new one. Like this is the type of palette that can be used for every day, going to work, and there's some very smoky shadows over here that you can easily use this for making, you know, smoky, sultry eye as well. I'll just quick give you a few swatches of the shimmers. The shimmers, again, are that beautiful smooth formula that I must say I prefer. I love a smooth formula like that, and look at that taupe. Oh, God. That's the shade Rocker. up here and just gorgeous. And the mattes too, really, really easy to use, you guys. I have found that after a few years of experimenting with different brands and different formulas, I just want something that I don't have to like worry about, that I don't have to like get too stressed out about using, that will just work, that will just blend. I know a lot of people really want like deep, deep pigment, but I found personally what I look for is the blendability part. All right, those were all of the questions for this tag. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. Thanks for just sitting around and chatting with me in the comment section. I really appreciate you guys, and I hope that you have an absolutely wonderful day. I'll see you next time. Bye!